HCTV. And we have a new person back there. We have Kaylin Parker from the Crestview News Bulletin. How long are you going to stay with us? I say that as a joke because, as you know, your predecessor is sitting next to you there. And we have Aaron Jacobs, who's an independent. Aaron's an independent reporter who is joining us this evening also. And again, welcome. And at this time, I'm going to ask the city clerk if she would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would stand for that, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask you to sign in, all three of us.
Actually, four of them.
Okay, and having noted that there is a quorum, three of us here. Councilman Hayes is out of town. Councilman Walker has an emergency, and that's why we're missing two of our people today. Anybody have any objections to tonight's agenda? Any objections? Okay, that's approved by unanimous consent, and we'll move right on to public hearings, which will be A, Ordinance 1663. If you read that, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 1663 reads by title. An ordinance annexing to the city of Crestview, Florida, 40 plus or minus acres of contiguous lands located in Section 9, Township 3 North, Range 23 West, and being described as set forth herein, providing for authority, providing for land description, providing for boundary, providing for land use and zoning designation, providing for amendment to the base land use and zoning maps, providing for a comprehensive plan amendment, providing for filing with the Clerk of Circuit Court of Okaloosa County, the Chief Administrative Officer of Okaloosa County, and the Florida Department of State, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is the second reading of Ordinance 1663.
Ms. Teresa, if you would explain it, please.
Okay, gentlemen, this is the 40 acres that in Section 9 that we spoke about last meeting. All the applications for all phases of the annexation has been submitted. That for the annexation, change of jurisdictional limits, the comprehensive plan, which shall be a conventional, and rezoning that have been submitted by F.E. Lauren Fleming Trust and Mavis J. Hancock Trust, who are the property owners. Timothy C. Flemings is the authorized agent. And when you consider that the demand of affordable housing is on a rise in Crestview, the property owners are planning to develop the property under the best use of the property. The desires are to have the land available for single or multifamily residential development. As you know, it is encumbered with some wetlands, however, which will require specific permits. But nevertheless, there is enough acreage there in order to develop. They're requesting medium-density residential land use, single and multifamily dwelling district zoning. Property is contiguous to the corporate limits of the city and therefore are eligible to be considered for annexation. Discussion with public services, water and sanitary is available and sufficient to meet the demands for the residential development. However, there may be upgrades that will be dependent upon the developer to provide.
Gentlemen, any comments or questions?
You need to see if anybody, we got anybody want to say this in the public hearing.
Excuse me, Mr. Hawley, first I want to see if they have any questions for her, then I'll call on the public. Do you have any questions for Ms. Teresa? No. Okay, thank you. Now, is there anybody in the audience that would like to address this? Anybody in the audience would like to address this? Okay. Thank you. All right, could I have action, please?
Mr. President,
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Cox.
I move to approve ordinance 1663 on second reading and send to council president, mayor, and city clerk for signatures.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion second to approve ordinance 1663 on second reading and send to council president, mayor, and city clerk for signatures. Any further discussion? Please go to voting.
it again.
We seem to be hung up on that. Voice vote, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0 with 2 absentees.
I only got 2 more.
Moving along to ordinance 1664. Madam Clerk, if you'd read that, please.
Sir, ordinance number 1664 reads by title. An ordinance annexing to the city of Crestview, Florida, 9.99 plus or minus acres of contiguous lands located in section 32, township 3 north, range 23 west, and being described as set forth herein, providing for authority, providing for land description, providing for boundary, providing for land use and zoning designation, providing for amendment to the base land use and zoning maps, providing for a comprehensive plan amendment, providing for filing with the Clerk of Circuit Court of Okaloosa County, the Chief Administrative Officer of Okaloosa County, and the Florida Department of State, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 1664.
Ms. Gailey, you're on. You're on.
Gentlemen, this is an annexation with a small-scale conventional comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning. It has been submitted by LDJ Realty Investments, LLC, property owner, Leon Daggs Jr., the authorized agent. The owner is planning to develop this property commercially. The property is adjacent to another parcel which the corporation owns, which will allow for the development to actually have frontage on Highway 85 or Ferdon Boulevard South. And they will have direct access there. The current plan is for the possibilities of restaurants and retail establishments. As a matter of fact, they're in conversation with 2 of those. The property is contiguous to the corporate limits of the city and therefore eligible to be considered for annexation. In discussion with Public Services, the water and sanitary sewer is available and sufficient to meet the demands for commercial development. However, any upgrades will be the responsibility of the developer.
Gentlemen, any questions, comments? Anybody from the public like to address this? Anybody in the public like to address this issue? All right, action by the council, please.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Fairclough.
I move to approve ordinance 1664 on the second reading and send to the council president, mayor, and city clerk for signature.
Second.
We have a motion to approve ordinance 1664 in second reading and send to council president, mayor, and city clerk for signatures. Any further discussion? Please vote.
It's locked. You're gonna have to voice vote.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I'm sorry, I didn't vote myself. All those in favor, I include my eye on that.
Okay.
3-0.
All right.
This time, anybody in the audience like to address the city council? Anybody in the audience like to address the city council? All right, we're going to move on to item number 7A, discussion approval of Main Street Crestview alcohol use application. And I believe you're going to hand that, Madam Clerk?
This is an application for approval. There's a couple of verbiage changes that we need to make on it, but this is the draft approval for events to be held in the downtown Crestview Commercial District. It's not, doesn't have anything to do with any of the other city facilities. It's strictly for the downtown use. What we did was took a copy of the downtown event application, which the mayor already approves for the closing of the streets, went through the, used a couple of other cities' applications and kind of borrowed some information from them, where they use one of them mainly from Fort Walton Beach, where they use it for their Brook Street events, and then took the information out of the ordinance that was passed in November of 2016 and made a checklist for the use of this. Now, anybody who has an application for the use, and again, it has to be a nonprofit that is sponsoring it, has to be within the downtown Crestview commercial district. It will have to come back to the city council for review and approval prior to the event happening.
Would you give us, you said it had some subtle changes.
A couple of things on the,
Yeah,
on the
we need to know
title.
what they are so we can vote
On the
them.
title, on the second page, it will say Main Street Downtown Commercial District Alcohol Permit Application. That's probably 2 lines instead of 1. That is contained, if you look in the line right under the box, it says regulations and procedures regarding consumption of alcoholic beverages within Main Street Area Commercial Business District, exemptions for special events and open container at special events, which is the title of the ordinance.
Okay.
And there was one other place where instead of having alcohol beverage license, we have a liquor license, so we will be changing that to alcohol. There is, in the main title, it says a current alcohol beverage license holder may request, so we'll change that to alcoholic beverage license holder. There is another item, which I didn't pick up, which is we'll have to go through the CPD, has a request for special services for traffic or for having a special, an officer on duty during any event. And it will depend on where the event is, how many it is, about how many officers there'll be.
So you're saying it doesn't just go through the mayor for closing the street and getting the police?
No, it has to have, it goes through the Crestview Police Department, and that
Right.
full application will come back to the city council for approval.
Gentlemen, questions, comments? Go ahead, Ms. Fairclough.
I would like to see something on there that states that all Florida beverage statutes apply.
Well, that would be covered if you applied for the alcoholic beverage license.
Okay.
And it does have on the top, it says the state of Florida prohibits the sale, use, or possession of all forms of alcoholic beverages by persons under 21 years of age. It is on the top of that box.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I see it.
And the persons are responsible for it. Anybody that is at an event has to have an armband, has to be issued an armband that the event coordinator or sponsor has to take full responsibility for that. They are held 100% liable if someone under 21 years age is issued a armband and/or a drink.
Any other comments, questions? Go ahead, Ms. Cox.
One comment and question. On the top of second page, the verbiage, except within a confined and designated area. Question is, does that mean such as a tent or tent and chairs as in a beer garden?
Which,
The top of the second page, and it starts with the bottom of the first page, that statement. There's a
yeah, there
paragraph.
has to be a designated area. If you have one event that's on one block, that's the designated area. If the event happens to be the entire Main Street, they have to give us a map of where the event's gonna be and how far that will be allowed. They can't
Got it.
just wander off to Brett Street and
Got it, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Action, please.
Mr. President,
Go ahead, Ms. Cox.
I move to approve Main Street Crestview alcohol application as presented,
With
What do we
changes.
say is modified?
as
There were a couple of changes.
modified.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion second to approve Main Street Crestview alcohol application as modified. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0, 2 people absent. Item 7B, discussion approval of vehicle purchase for permitting. I believe, Ms. Gailey, you have that.
Gentlemen, you were presented with the request for the vehicle, and you had requested the specific dollar amount. We have attached it to your paperwork. We will be going through the state agency of Duval Ford LLC. Bottom line figure is $24,854.50.
Questions, comments?
Comment.
Go ahead, Ms. Cox.
That's an excellent price for such a vehicle.
Thank you, sir.
The only thing I would say, I just want to clarify, because This is in your budget for next year, and you're moving it to this year,
We,
correct?
if this vehicle is approved, we will be moving it from next year's budget. It'll be gone from next year's budget.
Okay, you'll be pulling it from the other one.
Mhm.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Action, please. Whose turn is it?
Mr. President,
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Cox.
I move to approve the purchase of a vehicle for permitting as presented.
Second.
Got a motion second to approve the purchase of vehicle for permitting as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried 3-0, 2 absent.
Thank you, sir. And we would like to tell you that this is necessity because our inspector has passed their first level of exams prior to their 60-day probationary period.
Well, that's good. I thought you were going to tell us he was having to walk.
Oh, no. He's going to soon have, he'll be right.
So this will speed up getting the permit then?
It's going to speed up the getting a penalty if you're out there without a permit, and it's going to speed up the inspection at which the person would be inspecting it, but the permit technicians issue the permits. So to
Well,
say
we-
his vehicle would speed up the permitting, only the end results of it.
Well, this goes for more help, doesn't it? That's what the car's going for.
It's for the
Additional-
the inspector that
Well, they
you put
already
on
get
board
twice
about.
inspecting done then.
Yeah, you put one on board about 2 months ago. So this is his vehicle.
All right, thank you. Last call from the audience. Anybody in the audience like to address the city council? Anybody in the audience like to address the city council? If not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming. If you want to stick around, we're going to have a workshop.